It's the sick show. It's the sick show. It's the sick show.
Yeah. Yeah, right across from William Reed.
Yeah. Good.
Uh,
How far away?
you're going to want to pull that a little bit closer. So you've got like a softball size that you'll want in front of you. Maybe even a little. Oh, here's why. I got you off. How about now?
There you go.
There it is.
Is it good?
Then you got headphones there.
Okay.
It changes the whole dynamic of the
Does it?
conversation.
Okay.
It's so weird.
All right, let me.
And I've been messing around a little bit with my mics, trying to change the sound up a little bit. So I may have to make an adjustment here. I'm not so sure I like what's going on. I put a compressor on them, just trying to see. I don't like it already.
There we go.
There, oh, see,
Oh yeah,
isn't that weird? How
it is. It's echoey.
Draws you in
It does.
and makes you go, I'm having a conversation here.
Yes.
Really?
This is my old stopping grounds. Really.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
I went to Licking
yeah,
and I drove right by it.
yeah,
You know, I grew up at Lake Mohi,
yep.
and
So crazy story. I found a picture. I'm going through pictures and kind of digging through my own history and just learning more about myself and my family. And I ran across this picture, and on it was my grandmother, my grandma Fox, and her dad. And she was a Clevenger, and the Clevenger family is out from around the Elizabethtown.
yeah.
My
Wow.
my grandpa Clevenger
Mhm.
was hauling rocks out of the quarry
Mm-hmm.
in southwest Blackford County.
Mhm.
Where's the quarry in southwest Blackford County? Mohi.
Yeah. Yep.
So my grandfather was a part of hauling those rocks out of there,
Wow.
part of the building of that. I don't know what his full involvement was,
Mhm.
but it was his mule and wagon that the picture was her with him
Wow.
hauling rocks.
Yeah, they got a dam down there and everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Interesting part of that county. Me and Jack Beckley were talking about how that was one of the original areas that was settled in Blackford County.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't really know that either.
Yep. I can't remember the family now, the family name, but the family name rings a bell. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so when I started looking through some different Blackford County history, uh, it was really interesting to see names pop up, and in my mind, I was putting them together with where it said in this biography book um, where they lived, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we went to school with Tim Kessler.
Mm.
Tim Kessler still lives out there, and
Mhm.
in the 1870s, 1880s, the Kessler family was there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh my gosh, a number of names pop up.
Well, one name to me, Don Rogers.
Oh yeah,
Don Rogers' family lived out on Mohi Road for years and
Yeah.
still lives out there. He does, and yeah.
yeah. So here they are. You know, you kind of stay for the most part where your family started
Mm-hmm.
for some. And my grandpa Toby, he was here in Hartford City in the the early 1900s with his family, and there were 6 boys, but they kind of spread out all over the place after the Toby family, but he stayed, and one of his brothers stayed for a while too, but then ended up in Michigan. And it's just interesting. I've lived a couple different places. I lived for a very short stint in Florida, just south of Tampa. Lived down there with Rob Hess and Sean Jenkinson,
Mhm.
Kim Jenkinson, and the Wilsons. Very short stint down there. Moved back up here, lived here, and then moved to Madison for a few years. And I'll be honest, man, Madison became like my second home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you kind of feel that. You feel
Yeah.
that with the Yorktown area,
Mhm,
and you
mhm.
you became, just a son of the city there, and
Yeah.
it's where your family's been raised. So,
Mm-hmm.
just catch us up, man. Catch us up. What's going on with Jason Reynolds and your family? And
Well, it's hard to believe. My oldest son's in college now.
oh my gosh, man,
So-
I still see this little dude
Yeah.
doing gymnastics on your
Yep.
Facebook page.
Yeah, and that's been since he was 6 years old. So, and he's
Gosh.
still doing it collegiately, which we went to his first collegiate meet at the Ohio State a couple weeks ago. So,
Wow.
he's doing it with some other guys and collegiately, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we get older, but it's good. I've been at Ball State 25 years now.
Yeah.
as a chef and worked my way up and earned some degrees. And,
Yeah.
over the years, my wife and I owned our own catering business for 17 years. I taught at Ivy Tech and, uh, but, I oversee all the catering department of Ball State now all over campus and the alumni center operations. And, yeah, family's good. Our youngest son's, he's in the theater department at, Muncie Civic. He just did his 30th show,
What was he in?
White Christmas.
Man, what a great show.
It was a great show.
I absolutely
Yeah.
loved it. One of the best plays I've ever seen.
Yeah. And my son was the cameraman
Oh,
and the
wow.
train conductor. And so he's a tall, slender guy. He has got long hair, but it was all up in the wig,
Yeah,
but, yeah, and he's one of the dancers and singers, but yeah, he loves doing that. And, yeah, Civic does a great job
they do.
putting on shows. But, my wife, she works over in Anderson at Changing Lives, which is a center for kids on the autism that has autism.
Okay.
They do therapy and things there, and both boys. What my oldest actually works there, and he is actually studying ABA
Oh, wow.
as
Nice.
his major at Ball State.
Yep.
So that's what he loves and what he wants to
Good.
do. And so yeah, family's plugging away and doing a good job, and it's great. It's great.
I was thinking, as I was getting my stuff done this morning, I was thinking about probably 2010-ish, maybe 2000. It might have been 2012. I ran into you at the student center, I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
Either the student center or at the
Yeah. Student center, wasn't it? The Tally.
yeah, it
Student
was
center
at
Tally.
Tally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, oh my God, man, it's so weird when we see each other.
Hmm.
It's almost out of context.
Hmm.
It's not out of context,
Yeah.
obviously for you, but for me it was. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, there's somebody I know.
Yeah.
And being an older student, I was a non-traditional student at that time, and
Hmm.
like seeing anyone that there is rare,
Hmm.
because, well, the age gap.
Yes.
I was 18 years older than most of the students I was around,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I was that guy that would be asked by professors, "So Scott, what'd you do in a previous life?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Hey, same way with me, because
yeah,
I only have my associates out of college and culinary. And so went to culinary school and then went right into the business.
yeah,
And, when I landed at Ball State, which was 25 years ago, I was told you can earn your bachelor's degree for free as a benefit. So for 17 years, I took classes, and yeah, I know what you mean. Being, in class with a non-traditional student.
yeah.
Yeah. But, it was fun.
Does it even look that way in the culinary department?
Um, you know, um, Ball State really doesn't have a culinary. They have more hospitality.
Okay,
It's changed more over to business. Um, Not so much. It's more the younger crowd.
is it?
Yeah. Um,
And I would think it would be. I mean, at
mhm.
Ivy Tech, we saw some people that were
Yes.
non-traditional, and
Yes.
man, what a diverse group of people
Hmm.
that Ivy Tech serves. That's for sure. And
Yeah.
I never really ran into that as much at Ivy Tech for those 2 years. And what a wonderful
Yeah.
experience Ivy Tech was. I'm a big supporter of Ivy
Yeah.
Tech, and very, very happy that I went there and had a great experience. And
Well, teaching there I taught 8 or 9 years. I taught while I was still working at Ball State. I taught meat
okay,
and seafood fabrication and, those type of classes. And, non-traditional students, you're right. There's a lot of them in Ivy Tech that come back that want another career.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just say seafood fabrication?
Yeah. Meat and seafood fabrication.
I can't let that go.
Okay. Well, it's actually, and the way I teach class, I'm traditionalist teacher where I like to talk about the history and how things come about, where they came from. So say we're talking about beef,
Okay.
you know, where to start, where to domesticate, how to even start in history, you know, um, and then how did it come about, and then all the way down to the cuts of meat, how you cut them, how you fabricate them, and all the way down to like the ribeye.
Gotcha.
You know, that's what I'm talking about when I mean fabrication.
Okay.
So even like fish, how they come about, how you break down a flatfish, shellfish, and a round fish. There's three categories. So
Does it change uh the way, and I've seen this somewhere, but just in the way you cut a piece of meat,
mhm.
will it change the way you prepare it? Like, cook it, or
You know what? Yeah, sometimes it does.
yeah.
Depends on the cut of meat, and there's always there's more of the proper way of cutting down a whole side of beef or um, pork or whatever it may be. But then there is different ways you can prepare it,
Gotcha.
and it's to the individual. There's the traditional ways that we learn in culinary school, and then how chefs do it. But yeah,
Is that part of them creating their own style?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And that's the thing where you go to school to learn the basics.
Yeah.
You start working in the industry for chefs, and then you create your style from all the places and what you've learned. That's what you do.
That's the art side of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? What would be something that would be your favorite component to teach?
Oh man. Well, I love meat. So in any of the, it's either beef or pork. I love the meats in that way because in my off time, I love smoking meats and
Yeah.
barbecuing, and that's one of my favorite things to do.
Boy, that's an art in itself.
It is.
It really is, because it can go bad really
Oh, you
easily.
can,
Uh,
and you got to have patience too.
oh my God.
Learn the temperature and how to adjust it, and keep an eye on it. And
I
yeah.
decided last year, it might have been about this time, that I wanted to try Lego lamb.
Mhm.
So we got some lamb, put it in the freezer because we bought it early, and then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it.
Mhm.
Got it out of the freezer. I put it on. I tried to smoke it on my charcoal
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
smoker, and I thought, I can keep the coals low enough in the box. I'll just keep, I'll keep an eye on it. Man, that thing turned out just awful.
Oh, did it?
It was the worst. Like,
Yeah.
we couldn't eat it.
Okay.
Jennifer's like, I think that piece of meat is bad. Something's wrong. Something happened. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
I've had some luck with some other things. Absolutely love smoking a turkey.
Mm-hmm.
That was some delicious bird, and I don't like dry turkey.
Oh no.
I have a hard time eating a chicken breast because a
Yeah.
lot of times it's very dry.
Yeah.
But man, you give me a chicken thigh, I'm all business all day.
Chicken thighs are my favorite. I'm the one that goes for the dark meat for turkey on.
Yeah, yeah.
And what I tell people when they're smoking or grilling or even roasting a turkey is to turn the breast side down,
Mm-hmm.
because all the juices from the dark meat flow down into the breast.
Yeah.
No one really displays their turkey anymore. So, the darkness and the crispiness of, oh, let's put the whole bird out for display and then cut it.
You think that ended in 1989 when Christmas Vacation came out?
Yes. Right, right. So funny. So funny. But yeah, the juices just flow down into the breast. And
I still do that when we eat turkey and something bad.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Love that movie.
yeah.
Oh.
So, and that's something I learned online. I just kind of
Mhm.
did some looking into it. Same thing. Let that
Mhm.
stuff render down into the
Yeah.
other components. So, favorite dish?
Favorite dish to eat or make?
Ah,
Man.
both. We're getting into the nitty gritty
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be a dish. What's a favorite thing?
Oh, okay. First thing come on. I love fried chicken and homemade mashed potatoes and gravy.
Just had fried chicken for lunch.
My mom's. So, a little history on myself, I got into culinary or got into wanting to be a chef when I was in the 7th grade. So junior high,
Yeah.
okay, foods class. I was the only boy in the class, here in Hartford.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. And, and a lot of the friends I had, made fun of me.
What a great way to meet girls, though.
Hey, and that's what I said. I get to eat food and meet girls, and, I just took all the foods classes I could take because I knew back then I wanted to be a chef
Okay.
in the 7th grade.
God, man, I'm so envious of that. And I've talked about that before,
Mhm.
that, I just want to be a dad. I want to be a husband and a dad. I
Yeah.
didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I thought I wanted to be a teacher
Mhm.
early on. Found out there was a lot of work involved in that.
Yeah.
Took some time away and did whatever.
Mhm.
Then finally came back to it. But I'm so envious of those who know early
Mhm.
what they want, what their passion is. So just a lot of envy.
Well, it was
Going out
crazy
there.
because when we moved from Blackford to Yorktown, and the reason why we did, my dad worked at GM in Anderson
Okay.
for ever since I could remember when I was a kid. And my mom then ended up getting a job at LS Ayers in the
Oh
Muncie
yeah.
Mall. So, and we had some relatives in Yorktown. So it was halfway in between. So we moved. That's why we moved. It was just a long drive for both mom and dad all the
Sure.
time. And so, and we moved then. But, and then I continued taking some other classes at Yorktown. And then I went to Vincennes University and got my culinary degree.
Okay.
But my grandmother, June Miller, the Millers who lived out in northeast of town there, um, great cook, and my mom was a great cook. My mom and dad's side of the family all cooked. So when we had gatherings, we had a feast,
Yeah.
and it's just the way I learned. And then I end up, when my mom went to work, I ended up cooking our dinners at
Oh
home.
wow.
So, you know, um, that's how I kind of learned and loved it. I just ended up loving it and then end up just going after it and did it. Um, so my favorite dish comes from my mom,
Okay.
which is fried chicken. She breaks down the whole bird, flours it and pan fries it, and then takes the drippings and makes homemade gravy and homemade
Oh
mashed
yeah.
potatoes. I mean, that's my
Yeah.
all-time favorite meal. It's fried chicken. And of course, it's the chicken thigh,
Right.
you know, which was funny because my mom always had the breast. My sister always did the leg. I did the thighs and my dad did the wings. So
Oh
it
man,
all worked out.
that works out
It
perfect.
worked out perfect. Yeah.
Well, here at our house, I don't know that Jennifer would have touched a chicken thigh. Um,
Hmm.
she was very thoughtful in what she ate. I would say picky, but she has a wide, very very interesting palate. But she wouldn't eat the thighs because they were so fatty.
Okay.
Um, but I started doing thighs on the grill, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden she figured out, man, that's a really good.
It's good.
That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to keep my chicken juicy, and I think there's a fear in people that if it's still juicy, it's not
Yeah. Not
done.
done. Right.
And
Same with pork.
yeah,
People think you got to cook pork until it's completely,
no,
no, it
no,
can be a little pink in there and still you got to have it moist.
yeah,
Yeah.
just all that flavor still
Hmm.
packed in there. My favorite thing to make is probably chocolate chip cookies.
Okay. Okay.
I can make a mean
Yeah.
chocolate chip and snickerdoodle.
Yeah.
So that comes from my mother.
Hmm.
But my brother Joe would always make chocolate chip cookies. My mom would make snickerdoodles and peanut butter.
Okay.
So I became the chocolate chip and snickerdoodle guy. I can't make a peanut butter cookie to save my life.
Oh, really?
I don't know that I'll ever get there where my mom was.
Hmm.
She did it so well. I
Yeah.
mean, I'd help her get it ready and help her do stuff, but somehow mine just come out so crumbly at the end.
Mm.
And I've tried a few different
Yeah. Yeah.
variations to get there. I just can't get it. So we're leaving that one alone. My oldest brother Bill, I took him some snickerdoodles right around Christmas, and he took a bite of one. And he goes, "That's close." I said, "Well, just so you know, I put a little bit of love in every one. Every time, I got it off the spoon, I'd lick my thumb before I got that next one. So I'm just trying to get a little love in it, just like
Hmm.
mom did."
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really like making the fried chicken. There's a lot of process into that. And, but I like grilling. I like just
I do too.
grilling any time of the year.
If I had a fryer outside,
Yeah.
it stinks up your whole house
Yeah. I know.
instantly.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
if I had a fryer somewhere, maybe in my garage with an exhaust hood, or
Hmm.
outside where
Hmm.
I could just go at it,
Oh, yeah.
I'm totally down with that.
Hmm.
We used to have some parties out of our house when we lived on 26, and we'd always have the fryer going outside, and we were frying Twinkies and
Yeah.
Oreos, like anything you could think of. Like
Hmm.
it was almost like the state fair type food,
Yeah. Yeah.
and people would be bringing things to
Hmm.
throw in there. And Shane Beckley brought some stuff one year, and like other people were bringing stuff, and they were like preparing for this party
Yeah.
so they could try it and have other people try it. The Snickers was okay. Um, there's some other things that are kind of goofy.
Hmm. Hmm.
The fried Coke.
Oh, well.
Come
Yeah.
on, man. Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's just
Fried
not.
butter.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. That
Yeah.
is fried.
I
So,
know.
eh. So when you're at Ball State, you've been at Ball State
25 years.
25 years.
Yeah.
And like you said, you've worked up from just working as a cook or a chef.
I
Always
came in as a chef. So,
Okay.
Yeah, the first 2 jobs is like my 3rd major job. I did have, in high school in Yorktown, I had a little cook's job, but, right after culinary school, I went to the Radisson Hotel at Keystone at the Crossing, and now it's a Sheridan, and, that was a great time because, I got to learn all aspects of the food service industry, fine dining, casual restaurant, the garde manger, which is the salad station, the
Yep.
desserts, catering, everything, which was great. You could work 5 PM to 1 AM or work 5 AM or, yeah, 5 PM to 1 AM,
Wow.
back for whatever it was,
Right.
because the hotel is always open 365 days a year. And so that hotel was, the it housed a lot of the the bands that came for concerts at Deer Creek.
Oh, interesting.
So Grateful Dead was there all the
Oh,
time.
wow.
A lot of the bands came there and stayed at that hotel.
They'd have probably been okay with just grilled cheese, I
Yeah,
would
probably.
assume. That's what they're
Yeah,
making
yeah,
out in the parking lot.
yes, yeah. But then
Oh,
I went on to Woodland Country Club in Carmel. Um, Chefs that I knew from the American Culinary Federation. It was an organization that we belonged to. Um, they're all buddies and they all talk. So one chef that was leaving the hotel knew a chef at the Woodland Country Club, so I ended up going there,
okay.
which was a good move. I went through a couple chefs there, and from that point on, I was living in Muncie still, Yorktown, and driving to Carmel, and opportunity came when they were hiring chefs at Ball State, and the chef there was invited to a little competition at Ball State they had going on, but had a prior commitment, and at that same time, I had applied for a
Okay.
position, and he said, "Why don't you go ahead and go take my spot because I have to go to this other prior commitment, and then just see what happens." So I did, and it was a little market basket, ready, set, cook type competition, and they ended up inviting me and uh, over to a get together afterwards and stuff. So it
Wow.
worked out really good, and I've been there ever since, and I love it. So start off as a chef there, earn my bachelor's degree in hospitality and food management. And then I became general manager at Woodworth Dining um, in 2017. Uh, I, the director at the time asked me, "Do you really want to step out of the kitchen? Do you want to step out of the chef's role?" I said, "Well, if I'm going to move up and I'm going to stay here, um, sure." So, you still have that. I'm still a chef by
Mhm.
trade. Still, people to this day call me chef.
Right.
Um, but to move up and become more management and move up in dining, that's what I did. I stepped out of the kitchen as a chef role, but still had influence on menus and guiding other chefs that came
Sure.
along and then just mentoring people. So I started in my master's as well in adult and community education because I feel like in everyday life, in my role, I'm educating adults.
100%.
When we talk, when we just sit and talk to each other, we're educating each other, and so I feel like, a big part of it is listening and communicating. And when we communicate, we're teaching
Mm.
or learning in that same way. So, and plus during this whole time while I'm earning my bachelor's degree, my wife and I opened our own catering business called
Mhm.
Heavenly Creations Catering. And I never wanted to cater in my life because catering was just, um, hectic,
There's a lot of variables.
a lot of variables. And so the way we fell in 2001, a friend of ours was getting married and asked us if we'd cater the wedding. Sure, I'll do that favor for you. Well, we did it. And their wedding coordinator stepped in, saw what we did, said, "Wow, this is the best I've seen from any caterer around this area. Have you thought about catering?" I said, "No, not in our life." So that's how we fell into it, started our own business and did it on the side.
Sure.
While I still worked at Ball State full time, I tied at Ivy Tech and plus was taking back classes at,
Wow.
at Ball State. It was a busy time. 17 years I had the catering business, my wife and I, because in 2019, um, there was a position open at Ball State for the assistant director of catering.
Mhm.
And so I interviewed for the position and actually they promoted me since I had the catering experience. And so now the title is Associate Director of University Catering and Alumni Center Operations.
Okay.
So the Alumni Center, I oversee the whole operations of the Alumni Center. It goes hand in hand with catering, because we have a kitchen there as well, and we do a lot of events out there at the Alumni Center by the football stadium. So overseeing that and all of catering at Ball State, it's been a journey. It's
Football games, basketball games.
Yeah. So every home football game, we cater 20 suites, up in
Wow.
the box and outside. So we have all those going on, and we also do alcohol concessions, beer concessions,
Okay.
and now we're doing it for the basketball games as well right now.
Is there a hospitality suite or anything for the basketball games?
Not per se. So
Okay.
they doing it more for so we sell beer on the concourse.
Yep.
But we're doing it also. If you buy a courtside seat, you get concessions down on the ground
Oh,
floor.
really?
So we're doing that for the courtside seats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
What What do you think would be a key for someone? Think about seventh grade you
mhm.
that knew you had a love for it, had no idea what it would take to
Yeah.
get to where
Yeah.
to and taking these different paths to get there. What would you say to a young person who just enjoys being in the kitchen, learning, and maybe has a thought of, hey, that's something I would like to do.
Yeah. And this happens all the time because you have people, I want to be like the chef on TV. Well, they see this.
Nobody wants to be like Gordon Ramsay. There are times I'd like to be,
Oh, I
I'd
know.
like to
Right.
have
Right.
that, but I just don't have it in me.
Yeah. And and I'm not that way either. Sometimes you get frustrated at times and stuff, but yeah, you know, it takes a certain person really, because a lot of people, a lot of youngsters that want to get into the culinary industry do not know what it takes really.
Sure.
They see things and TV has done a lot as far as showing the high life,
Right.
of a chef. To really get in there and grind, prep, do all the prep, do the line work.
I think that's what a lot of people miss though, too. It, just thinking about when you go out to eat
hmm hmm
and you're like, I'm here for an hour and 10 minute, experience. The amount of work that went into making sure your experience in that restaurant
hmm
goes off without a hitch. Kind of what we were talking about there with catering
Yeah.
and the amount of variables that go into that.
hmm
Uh, and there's still a lot of variables in the kitchen, but I would assume not near as many as when you're taking some, going remote
Yeah.
catering.
Right.
But I'm just thinking about the amount of prep that goes in and what time people go in to start, chopping
hmm
veggies
hmm
and cleaning and, getting the meat prepared and putting,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like. I don't know what it looks like.
hmm
For me, it's Jennifer goes to the store and
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's almost the same way because you're placing orders, you get the deliveries come to your back door, they come in, you have to put up the stock,
Mhm.
and make sure you have the right product. Because if you have a menu that changes, weekly or monthly, you got to revamp and restart. And it takes a good crew.
Mhm.
You really got to have people that want to be there and
Right.
work. And so, it does take someone that has the heart and has the soul that wants to really dig in and do a good job. But yeah, there's a lot of background work that goes into it, and you have to have your line set up, ready to go. And yeah.
There was a show on, I think it was on Hulu called The Bear.
hmm
Have you seen it?
Not
Heard
yet.
about it?
No.
Pretty good.
hmm
I don't know how well it represents the realities
hmm
of, running a restaurant and, functioning within a kitchen, but it's definitely telling of the pressure that time, the importance of time. They
hmm
continually stress that. They don't come out right and say, time is everything, folks.
Yeah.
But um, there's a continual reminder of how important every second is
hmm
in that kitchen, and it's by showing the clock
Yeah.
or by them making a comment or whatever. Is that reality?
It is.
Yeah.
And I've always had in my mind and always tell people, hurry up and wait,
Mhm.
because let's hurry up and get this done and check off our list. Make sure we have it all done. And I'd rather be waiting for the service to start
Sure.
or the catering to start than to be rushing all the way to the last minute and then forget something.
Right.
You know,
That's the worst.
yes,
That's the worst.
especially and you never want the client or customer to know there's something wrong in the back.
Yeah.
You know, the guests should always be thinking, "Oh, this is great," you know?
Yeah.
Well, something's going to happen, you know, on the line in the restaurant or in the catering, but they should never know that.
It's all about the
It's all
experience.
about the experience.
How much of that plays into what you do in catering?
The same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the front of the house, you have the back of the house, the same exact way as you do in the restaurant. Front of the house is the service staff, back of the house is your kitchen crew. And so the front of the house gets it all set up, you know, they should know the menu as well.
Right.
And the kitchen's the one prepping and getting all the food ready. If it's in the same facility or if it's being shipped to a different place, you know, that the paperwork should go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
You have a timing, and it's timing, you know. So I do a schedule every week on Fridays for the next week because you don't know what events you're going to have. So you know, everybody works different shifts, and yeah. So the timing's everything. So you get there, you get it set up, and you should just kind of just take a breather, wait a minute until we need to everything starts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah,
So having experience as a chef and now having experiences being the associate
yeah.
director, is that right?
Hmm.
Um, you now see, and I know you saw the you got to see what it looked like out front as well, and know how things get moved
Hmm.
within the kitchen and prepared to go out to the guests. But knowing the knowing both ends now as the director of catering, how does that change the chef you?
It really doesn't much.
Okay.
Because you're still playing I still plan menus. I still, you know, recipes with the kitchen, still talking about that and you're still prepping, but you're prepping more for the bulk or for a plate because it could be hors d'oeuvres, it could be um, a buffet, it could be served meal, kind of the same setup kind of way
Okay.
of prepping and getting through the kitchen, but also the in my role now, I have to make sure the front of the house has everything set up, you know, is the silverware. I always go through and check, is the silverware set right? You know, on the table for a plated meal. Is the knife turned the right way? Is the wine glasses on correctly? You know, are we getting the right linen? I have another management staff that's ordering linen and stuff. So, you know, I make sure all the pieces come together,
Hmm.
overseeing that whole thing.
I guess in my head, I'm thinking of me as teacher, as parent, then teacher,
Hmm.
well, student, parent, then teacher, and then as an administrator, and how that changed my my outlook on each piece.
Yeah.
I got to
Hmm.
see what that looked like from different views.
Yeah.
Certainly changed how becoming a teacher changed how I viewed education as a parent. Um, and then being a teacher changed my view as a parent.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it all works in that way. And
Yeah.
and as I've rolled through some um, different avenues in my careers, I guess it's almost like I consider my whole life my career
Yeah.
because I've done
Hmm.
so many different things.
Hmm.
It gives me a very different perspective on things. But probably the biggest thing I learned, and the reason I bring up time is because of the importance of not just time management. I thought I was a really good time manager, which I believe I am, but I realized as a principal that it wasn't my time management that needed to be on point as much as my priority
Hmm.
management.
Hmm.
And there's a huge difference between the two because I think we can manage our time really well.
Hmm.
You can say, yep, I need to cook this at this time, at this time, at this time, at this time. But if you're not focused on what the end product is, it doesn't matter because we can set that time, like all those things, anywhere during the day, and
Yeah.
it means nothing
Right.
at certain times,
Yeah.
but if you put that in the right time, you prioritize that in the right time, then it comes out perfect
Hmm.
and everyone is happy.
Right.
No one is under that undue stress of we got to make up, we got to
Hmm.
improvise or whatever. Everything goes as planned, and I think at priority management was kind of what I was pushing for with that, and you answered that in that way. I just want to make sure my listeners heard that it's the priorities that become prioritized
Yes.
instead of just the time management.
Well, you can't prep for a catering that's on Thursday and not prep for the one that's on Tuesday first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, if they have some of the same items, do it together, you know,
Sure.
but you're right. It's priority.
It's like
Yeah.
prepping for breakfast,
Yeah.
at 6 in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few things you can do there, but
Yeah.
uh,
Right.
you're gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
get up early, folks.
Yeah.
If someone and Jennifer and I have talked about this numerous times, we've always had this restaurant in the back of our head, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a chef, is that something you've always tossed around, or is that
I tell you, everybody wants to own their own restaurant, and everybody keeps saying, "Man, you're so good. You should own your own restaurant." Man, that's a 24/7. Owning your own restaurant. It's I don't think so. I've owned my own catering business, and that was just on the side. That wasn't even full time,
sure?
and that was busy enough because I didn't really have a staff. We just had people helping.
Mhm.
So Lena, my wife, she'd take care of like emailing and things with the customer, um, and sending out menus. And then I would meet with the client, or the customer and talk about menu and what they would like. And, and then you got to go get all the groceries, and then you have to take it to the facility, and then you have to prep it. There was 16, 20-hour days,
Mm.
just on a Saturday to get that wedding reception. You're there early in the morning and until it's over, and then doing dishes, so, you do have help. And, but yeah, I mean, I do some long hours now,
Sure.
but it's different because you're overseeing, you're doing stuff for the president of the university, and you're going and making sure that event is taken care of. And I flip flop between events and make sure they're being taken care of. And, but I go in early in the morning, and then sometimes in the late in the evening. It's not always like that. But it's just making sure that the major events, and not saying all events, but all the events are important. The
Do you have a
pres
hard time going out to eat?
Sometimes, yes. I love going out to eat at certain places, because I know the management, or I know the people. Um, not really, but sometimes I have to say sometimes you can be critical
Yeah,
because I know the whole aspect of the front of the house, back of the house, um, and I can tell you sometimes, usually, what's going on without even being back in the, you
sure.
know, um, and people just, when you're a customer, and I was going to bring this up as a customer because it's all aspects like you're talking about being a student, then being a
Yeah,
teacher, and all the way up, you know, as a guest. Also, I'm never a guest at a catering event.
right.
I'm always the one putting it out at a Ball State event. Um, but going out to eat can be tough. There's only certain couple places I'll go to a nice restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Just
Eh,
because I know what I'm going to get.
well, there are times Jennifer's a heck of a cook, and
Mhm.
so her original degree, she has a bachelor's in dietetics,
Mhm.
and through that, there's a lot of cooking that goes on
Yeah.
in that program, and she is she is incredible with how she can take different components. Like if we're at home and she's like, "Oh, I don't have that," and I'm like, "Oh, darn it! Well, you can make something else." Next thing I know, it's sitting in front of me what she'd originally planned. I'm like, "How'd you do that?" "Oh, I'm just instead of this, I substituted that, and
Yeah.
put this with." And
Mhm.
so she's very creative in that way. It's the art part of it that
Yeah.
comes into play, and the science, because she's very science oriented. She understands the different components and how to place them together to make it work and function.
You know what I call that? Flavor profiling.
Oh, sure.
So you
Yeah.
said you said it. I mean, it was like, the components and what goes together. And that's what I've always taught, is flavor profiling. If you go to a restaurant and you order a steak or a ribeye, I want the plate to be put together. I don't want to have be able to order a baked potato and asparagus that comes with every plate,
Mhm.
because it doesn't go with every plate.
Mhm.
I want the plate, if I'm gonna pay a good price, I want the plate designed for me.
Mhm.
And so if you think of a fillet, a nice grilled fillet, horseradish mashed potatoes, a nice roasted onion sauce, some haricot vert green bean,
God, you're
those
making me hungry.
yeah, those flow together. The meal, you should eat it all together. You shouldn't eat your steak by itself, your potato by itself. You should be able to eat all components,
Yeah.
like you're talking about. All flavors should flow together, and that's the flavor profiling point. And like you're saying, she knows what flavors go together, so she could substitute something else to
Right.
make it go together.
Yeah, and it's made it kind of hard when we go out to eat,
Yeah.
um, because there are things I can do really well, and I'm far from being great at anything, when it comes to that. But I can make a pretty mean steak.
Yeah.
I can make a pretty mean, set of chicken thighs and some different, different things grilling wise or,
Hmm.
baking. I can bake a little bit here and there. Um, so it makes it difficult when we go out to eat
Yeah.
and, a salad comes to us and you got a $6 salad sitting in front of you and you're like, really?
Yeah.
That's what you're giving me?
Hmm.
That's what you're gonna charge me $6 for that.
Yeah.
You feel good about that? That's what I want to ask. I know it's not the server that I need to
Hmm.
be asking that, but I'm like,
Hmm.
oh
I
man, what
know.
we could do for $6
Yeah.
in that bowl and still have enough for the rest of the week.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it,
Yeah.
it's just hard.
Yeah.
And there are times when the service isn't up to par, or maybe the place isn't as clean as it should be,
Hmm.
and all those things come into my experience. And there was a couple places we enjoyed going to eat that we were at recently.
Hmm.
I can't go back.
Yeah.
I can't go back.
Well, it has to do a lot of them with the management as well.
Sure.
Training and teaching the younger generation that are our servers and cooks, you
Care
know,
about it.
to care. Right. Yeah,
Care.
absolutely. And it starts with the management if they care or not,
Yeah.
to keep those things up and going.
Well, that's why I asked that,
Mhm.
because I know I've got to see and got to eat some of your food, and I've witnessed what you've done. I get to see it online, and I know your attention to detail and your pride in what you do.
Mhm.
That's why I asked that question,
Yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
as a principal, it was hard to walk into some classrooms.
Hmm.
Not many. There were very few where I walked in, I was like, "Oh, we got some work to do,"
Hmm.
But there were others I walked in, I'm like, "Man, that guy, I'll come back in here and watch him. I'll watch her.
Hmm.
I want to be a kid in this class."
Yeah.
And I wondered if it was the same way when you go out to eat, where you can't turn it off.
Yeah.
You just can't automatically turn that off and go, "Hey, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy whatever comes to me today. I'm not going to complain," which
Mhm.
I don't see as somebody that's going to, "Hey, come on,"
Yeah.
but
They don't complain really
in the
at
car
all.
ride on the way home,
Yeah.
the comment's going to be made.
Yeah.
We're human. And you get in the car and you're like, man, the, I was talking to Jennifer a while back on the phone and I was starving. Like I hadn't eaten all day. I was on one of those fasting
Hmm.
periods, and here it comes out of it. And as I'm driving on my way back home, I'm about an hour from home, and the only thing around me is fast food.
Hmm.
And, I'm on the phone with her. So, I'm just going to get a cheeseburger. Hell with it. I'm just doing it. I'm gonna go through McDonald's and get a cheeseburger.
Hmm.
I sit in the drive-through and I'm waiting. And
And
it was just
waiting.
just enough time for me
Waiting.
to go, I'm not doing it. And she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm leaving." She goes, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm gonna wait. I want to eat it. Then I'm gonna be disappointed in the food and in myself for eating at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I
I'm
know.
not doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I'm just coming home." And I've done that a number of times. My brother makes fun of me for it because, like, I'll talk to him sometimes in the morning, and occasionally I'll be like, you know what? I just want a quick, you know, McMuffin or something,
Hmm.
and I'll pull in the line, and then I'll pull right back
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
because I'm like,
Yeah.
I just
I
can't
know.
do it.
Right.
And I'm a little bit that way about different things. I've become accustomed to. I know what I like, and I don't want to pay for something I don't enjoy.
Hmm.
That
Yep.
not just like, but I want to enjoy it if I'm going out. And I'm that way with donuts. I'm
Hmm.
really bad when it comes to donuts.
Hmm.
I'm very picky.
Yeah.
And there was a morning about a month ago. I said I'm going to go get donuts, and I drove around, and they didn't have donuts at the one convenience. There's no donut place
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
There's a new pastry shop in town,
Oh.
but I want a tiger tail. Come on, man, just give me a
Yes.
good yeast
Right.
glazed donut,
Right.
And they weren't open yet. I go by the next place. They're not open yet. I did not want to go out to Casey's. That wasn't what I was wanting.
Hmm.
I wasn't going to Marsh. That wasn't what I wanted. A donut, dude.
Hmm.
I just wanted a quality made donut
Yeah.
that wasn't made in a factory somewhere and shipped in,
Hmm.
and it's just not available here.
Yeah.
And I came home, I was so shook up, dude. I was shook.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, "What's the matter?" I said, "Oh my God, there's just not a donut in this town."
Well, you can't buy like the Krispy Kremes in the store. It's not like getting it
No.
right from the restaurant, I know.
Man.
Yeah.
And I was spoiled. There, we had when I was a kid, there was Vargos here in
Mhm.
town, and when we were in Madison, there was a place called Horst, and they made, in my opinion, the best donut
Yeah.
on the planet. The people here argue that it was, that Vargos made the best ever. And
Mhm.
okay, you know what? I really enjoyed them.
Yep.
But I'm telling you, as an adult,
Mhm.
I really loved Horst donuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're not a paid sponsor, but by God, if they'll send me some donuts, I'll eat them.
That's good.
Yeah. We used to,
Yeah.
we used to grit, man, there was this family that would bring like multiple dozens of donuts into us at the school when I
Mm.
was working there.
Yeah.
And I was there with the car line, waving kids in and wishing them a great day. And I'd see this dude pull up and he'd open that back door and I knew there was just glazed donuts coming out of
Mhm.
the back of that car, and they were like clouds. It's making my mouth water right now thinking about them, Jason.
Sounds good. That's right.
So, anywho,
Yeah.
so no restaurant, no Reynolds restaurant coming up in the future.
No, probably not. And I've done our own catering business. Um, I don't think so.
Is that something that you see in some of your students? They have aspirations to do that, or are they looking more to just get into hospitality management and go work for someone else? Or
It's a little bit of everything, students have their aspirations, and just when I was a student, I wanted to go work on a cruise ship
oh man,
as a chef, and,
yeah,
work on. But more and more it came about is that you'd be gone for several months, and
yeah,
and then also you need to learn different languages and stuff like that, and so I never did do that. But I've been on a cruise, and it's wonderful.
isn't that crazy,
It's crazy what they do on a
man?
cruise.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's legit.
it's legit. Yeah. I mean, I've done the ice carvings, I've done the fruit carvings and all
Okay,
that myself throughout the years. And, but I think, yeah, students have high aspirations, but end up finding out what it's all about.
yeah,
Um, you really have to have partners to open a restaurant, money wise and all that,
time,
time.
time,
Yeah. And just, you know, to know what you're doing,
yeah.
as far as opening up a restaurant, it's tough, especially with all the franchises out there now,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a building here in town. I was just talking to a guy named Eric Wilson today, and Eric's the contractor on the Newberry building uptown, and they're putting in the oven hood or whatever the big
the
what
hood
would
system.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's getting installed today.
Mhm.
And ask him, I said, what's going on with it? Are we moving? And he said, man, it's progressing. We're just, they're looking for that right person to fill in that restaurant role of it. And I think it would go well here. I think a nice um, not necessarily a roots,
Mhm.
but think in that same realm of just, a good 20 22 dollar plate,
Mhm. Mhm.
maybe that 17 to $22 plate
Yeah.
is going to go well here.
Sure.
If Grains and Grill over in Matthews can rock it out,
Yeah. Yeah.
if there's a place in Summitville that's killing it, I think called Route 66 or
Okay. Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that, that's doing really well. And you've got some other small
Mhm.
restaurants in small towns
Oh yeah.
that are killing it.
If a restaurant does it the right way, people will travel to go eat at that restaurant.
100%.
Yeah. Even if it's a small little town.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about Fairmount, Matthews, Grains and Grill. I mean, I know. Those little small areas like that can, yeah,
And it's
for
not
sure.
chain based.
Mhm.
There was a time and place when that's all you saw was
Yes.
chains everywhere, and you still do.
Mhm.
But I really love going to an independent
Oh yeah.
restaurant.
Oh, me too.
Something more special about it,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's what we do in Muncie as well. I mean, the locals, and um there's a couple restaurants we like to go to, and that's what we
Yeah.
stick to.
Yeah.
Because my wife, if we go to a different restaurant, oh, she'll leave her. You could have done better than that at home. You
That's what
know?
I was talking about
Yeah.
earlier.
Right. Just
Yeah.
like Jennifer, like you're saying, yes.
And I could have watched what I wanted to on
Yeah.
TV. My ears wouldn't be ringing when I
Yeah.
left, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't smell like whatever they were frying in the
Yep.
back. I mean, all that plays into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there are places I won't go because I know I'm going to walk out of there. I won't go into a Wendy's because I know I'm going to walk out smelling like their fryer.
Yeah. Right.
And I love a good Wendy's fry,
Yeah.
man.
I know it.
Man, my dad like that square hamburger, something,
Mm-hmm.
there's something special about biting into the corner of a hamburger that is not supposed to be a corner, but
Yeah.
that's the way Wendy's does
But
it.
it is.
And my dad took me there, so there's some nostalgia that goes along with it. But I won't go in because they just can't get their stupid hood right. You know, make
Yeah,
that whole kitchen area a hood.
I know. Right.
Like, you're frying and cooking. Do it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? But
Yeah. I know
yeah,
what you mean.
smoky places ain't
Mm-hmm.
happening. I can't go in
No.
a place where people smoke. And,
Oh, I know.
and I'm a former smoker.
Yeah.
So I'm that guy, but I just won't do it now.
Well, I was joking around with somebody the other day. Remember the times where, you walk into a restaurant and they ask you smoking or non-smoking,
Right.
and if you go sit in non-smoking, you had to walk through the smoking section to
To
get
get there.
there.
Right. Or you're sitting right by that glass that goes up 6 feet.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
just like this,
yeah,
there's this flume of smoke hanging over the non-smoking
yeah,
section. And I
yeah.
was like, what?
Oh
Oh,
man,
God.
those days.
I was talking to AC about going into, um, oh my gosh, Fazoli's.
Yeah.
And back when it was, you could smoke in there.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I both smoked at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting in there under a lamp. And we would just puff the whole time like we're a couple gangsters and just fill that stupid thing full of smoke and
Yeah.
talk in there like we were somebody from somewheres that was going to get yous. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's what you do when you're 20. At
Mm-hmm.
least that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Not that everybody does that. I'm sure Jennifer never did anything dumb like that. That lady. Not
Oh
until
man.
she got with me, brother. She
Yeah.
didn't do anything dumb till she got with me. That was the beginning of it right there. So what's next? So
Yeah.
what does you got do you know your catering events like pretty much a year in advance?
No,
Semester in advance?
it could be a year. It could be next week.
Wow.
We ask for 10 days in advance.
Okay.
Um, they email us, call us, we get the information, get a contract ready for a quote, and email back and forth. And yeah, um, we were averaging about 35 to 40 events a week.
What size crew do you have?
13 full-time staff. So that is 4 front of the house that handles the setup of the whatever it may be, buffet or service. 5 back of the house. I have a dishwasher, and 2 custodian truck drivers, that drive and are custodians. Um, and then I have 2 other assistant managers that help as well with the events and things. But then we have student employees. So student employees help tremendously,
Okay.
and this year was the highest amount we've had for years. And most anybody has known catering to have. We had 40 student employees.
Oh wow.
So that helps out. So, and then they ask their friends to work and they get their friends. And so it works out really well with the student employees. So yeah, we do a schedule each week. So Friday morning, I'll do a schedule for next week.
Okay.
Depending on how many events we have and what times they are, where they're at and all that. So, cause every event's different, and times are different and days are different. So,
What's the biggest challenge with that?
The biggest challenge is when you get so many events, because we try to manage our events as best we can on different days. Um, is scheduling the front of the house to where they need to be. They could be doing 2 or 3 events in a day,
Mm-hmm.
but it's scheduling them, and make sure they're not working too late and then coming back in real early the next morning. It's managing all that. Make sure they get their day off and stuff.
Location wise, kind of all over or
Yeah, mainly
on
within
campus?
campus.
Okay.
Yeah. We do go outside campus for certain things. But Ball State's number one. Then outside of there, we do local things as well.
What about when it comes to bowl games, stuff like that? You involved in any of that? Not
We,
that we've seen a bowl game
well, a
in a
couple years
while.
ago we did. Yeah. Yeah, we do feed the football team. We feed them at the beginning of the year, their opening banquet and all that. At the end of the year banquet. And during those times, if we'll feed them during break as well if they're going to a bowl game, or sometimes the basketball team will do breakfast for. Depends on what times the games are and stuff. But yeah, we do. We feed the football team, basketball team.
So Ball State hosts the volleyball state championships.
Mhm.
Do you have any part in that? Do you get involved
Yeah,
with?
because we do a lot of for some of the teams. We have they get the teams together and have a banquet.
Yeah.
They also have a room over at the arena for the judges,
Okay.
not judges. We call them referees.
Referees.
Yeah. And then they have for the coaches, hospitality, things like that.
Okay.
So throughout the whole day, we're doing beverages and we're doing sack meals and different lunch and dinner buffets. Yeah.
So you're the associate director. Is there a director that you answer to that
So
is part of this as well?
yeah. So Ball State Dining and Catering fall under business and auxiliary services at Ball State. So business and auxiliary services has a vice president. Then there's an associate vice president, and then a senior director, which is my boss.
Okay.
So the senior director oversees dining, catering, conference services, and alumni center. And then we have two associate directors, myself, who oversees catering and alumni center, and then we have an associate director that oversees dining, all the dining
The
facilities.
dining halls.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that's how kind of the structure of that goes. Uh huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just thinking about Ball State, and we've got to see how much it's changed in the past, gosh, 30, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when my brother went there, it looked nothing like it does now. And,
Yeah.
the Flying Tomato is long gone.
Yeah.
I certainly miss that place.
Yeah.
And although I only remember visiting there in probably the mid 80s
Mm-hmm.
when Joe was at Ball State, and we were probably going there because, oh, it's the greatest place on earth.
Yeah.
It evidently it was, because I still remember it.
Yeah. Yeah. People do remember that.
But it's so interesting to see how much Ball State has changed and grown
Mm-hmm.
over the past 25 years.
Yeah.
25 years you've
Yeah.
been there,
Oh yeah.
let alone the probably 35 that we've been functionally aware of Ball State
Yeah.
as a place. What is the biggest change you have seen since you've been there?
One of the biggest changes I think is La Follette. The La Follette coming down. That's where I started. So as
Wow.
a chef 25 years ago, I was the chef at La Follette Complex. And so to see that come down was kind of a history moment, but also building the new North Dining right beside it
Right.
was great. And they had built that when it was still standing. And there's only 6 inches between the new building roof and the La Follette.
Are you
When they,
serious?
yeah, when they were building it.
Oh, I had no idea it was that close.
6 inches. And they had to really protect the building when they were tearing down La
Right.
Follette. But that was pretty cool to see go up. And North Dining is a freestanding facility, so it's all dining. A huge facility, holds 700 people.
Wow.
Yeah. If you've never, and I'm gonna promote it. If you've never been there, it's open to the public. The Chick-fil-A that was in the atrium
Okay.
is now moved down to North Dining, and they're just finishing it up as a full restaurant Chick-fil-A.
Really?
So if you go to that Chick-fil-A starting, I think the 8th or the 15th, somewhere in there, you can get every menu item that yeah.
Not what you can just grab off the warmer
No,
yourself.
you go, yeah, right. You walk up and order just like a restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
They have got a
awesome.
Starbucks. They got a barbecue place where they actually do all the smoking and rotisserie chicken and everything in.
Is that overseen by Ball State?
Yes.
Okay.
So Ball State Dining is self-opt. It's
Okay.
not contract company. So everything you see at Ball State in catering and dining is self-opt. We do it ourselves.
Wow. So Ball State has a Chick-fil-A franchise.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Ball State does have some franchises like Taco Bell,
Yeah.
in the student center, Chick-fil-A. We have a sushi place in Woodworth that, yeah, homemade fresh sushi, and it's great. So if you want some fresh sushi or poke bowls at Woodworth,
I think the girls have told me about that.
oh, Jocelyn Addison told you, yeah,
I know
yeah,
they've been through there.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
They're nuts
Hey,
about that
I'll
stuff.
tell you what, if you want ramen or good,
Oh God, they talk about ramen all the time.
yeah.
That must be where they're going.
Well, and it's fresh. They make it right there for you,
Wow.
So, and sushi and poke bowls. We've got let's see, Papa John's on campus as
Mhm.
well. So there's a few franchises, but we run those franchises. It's not like the company runs them or anybody else, but we train our employees to, like I said, self-opt.
I wasn't aware of that. I assumed,
Yeah.
you just rented them some space and
Yeah, no.
they were operating on their own out of there.
Yeah, and that's why Ball State, we're pretty well known around in the Midwest and the United States, as far as dining, because we're self-opt,
Hmm.
and do it the way we do it. We're part of an organization called NACUFS, which is a National Association of College and University Food Service. And so we go to conferences and things, regional and national conferences. We're pretty well known and
Huh.
because of how we do things and our meal plans and yeah,
Mind blown.
yeah,
Mind blown.
yeah. And I think Ball State dining, if you look, is ranked in the top 100
Wow.
across the
I
country.
don't doubt that one bit.
Yeah.
Not one singular bit. So, which brings me another question. The little robots that are delivering things
Yeah.
around campus,
Yeah.
is that Ball State dining as well?
Yeah, we run that.
That's
So it's a
so
company
bizarre.
that runs them, but we run them as far as there's an app you can get on called Starship, and you get on your phone and you can go to Ball State and you can order, and they go to the door. That'll tell you where it'll stop because it won't come in the building, but you go outside the door where it'll stop and it'll bring you your Starbucks or your Chick-fil-A
I'm
or
assuming you have to have a code or something or
yeah,
like on your
it's
phone.
almost like DoorDash, but it's just the robots. Yeah, we got 25 robots.
So fun.
It's awesome.
Students involved in operating those?
Yep.
Yeah.
So students will load
What a
them.
great opportunity. for
Yeah,
them.
student employees load them from the different facilities, and yeah, you'll see them run all over campus.
They are too.
Yeah, they're cool.
I don't know that I've been on campus in the past 6 months. I haven't seen one
Oh yeah,
as I drive through.
yeah.
And it doesn't matter what time.
Mm-hmm.
There's something rolling around.
Yeah,
on a road.
right. And that's another cutting edge thing that Ball State's trying to keep up with the trends of dining and catering. Across the country. Being in the Midwest, you're always one of the last ones from the coast to get things.
Sure.
But we're always trying to be on the cutting edge.
I think it's shrinking down a little bit.
Yeah.
With the power of information
Yeah.
being passed around. I think it's changing how the Midwest receives new
Mm-hmm.
innovation. I think it already has speed.
Yeah.
Been speeding a lot of things up. It's really interesting to watch and see.
Something new, innovative that's coming to Ball State this next semester as well is a Make a Mia pizza machine. It's going to be in the rec center where the old Quiznos used to be.
Okay.
That space is kind of vacant, but we're going to have like chips and sodas and drinks and stuff. But it's a pizza machine that the pizzas are prepped, put in the machine, and held. And there's a shelf life of them.
Sure.
But you can walk up and pick the pizza that you want, pay for it. It'll prepare it for you, drop it out into a box, and there you go. Oh wait, and they're good pizzas.
Really?
Yes.
How far away are we? Because I love pizza.
Yeah.
How far away are we from that?
It's going to be this semester sometime, but I'm not
Really?
for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
Should be pretty quick.
I figured I was going to hear fall.
Yeah, no, it'll be this semester coming up
Okay.
sometime.
All right.
I'll let you know.
Man, all of a sudden, I just found some new dining options in Muncie that I really hadn't thought about as being an option.
And I tell you what, and as you know, and former student, and and seeing you, the food is great at Ball State, and the public doesn't know that you can come to Ball State, and eat anywhere on campus and pay cash, card, whatever you want. We have chefs on campus, across campus, and it's amazing food. It really is. And if you want a good dining experience, you can come to Ball State and get a good meal for a good, reasonable price as well.
Right. I don't remember what I had something at the tally, and I was telling Jennifer, so we got to get in there. And I was messaging you, finding out when it was going to be on again. And our schedule just never aligned for us to get in there to check it out because it was something she would have really enjoyed.
Okay.
But that was something I really liked, was being able to follow the tally
Yeah.
and seeing what was going to be on that menu, and to get to see you while I was
Yeah,
in there having a
sure.
great meal too. But that was a lot of fun. Those were some interesting times to be 30, 36, 37, 38. And God, I was 40 when I graduated from Ball State. But to watch the evolution from when we were
Yeah.
kids and what Ball State looked like then
Mhm.
to what it is today, and then to see what it changed to even when my kids went there,
Yeah.
just a few years after, it was really interesting to see how you guys continue to be on the cutting edge and innovate
Yeah.
and not just settle for, being the old dining halls of the 90s.
Right. We got the
You know,
buffets. You just walk through the buffet and get what you.
God,
It's
it's
all prepared in
so
front of
good.
you. A fresh homemade sandwich, pizza, barbecue. You can see in the smoker or the open pit. Whatever. It's pretty fascinating. You can get a stir fry right there made for you
Yeah.
to order what you want in it.
And the
And
price is right.
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's not as if you're paying McGalliard prices.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
not.
No.
You're paying fair price for
Absolutely.
what you're getting. I've always been happy with it. So what's next for Jason?
We're just gonna plug away and just trying to. I'm always thinking about new innovative ways, and trends for catering as well.
Sure.
And just events on how do you take it to the next level, and such. So it's those type of things. Working on, um, you know, maybe I'll move up one more step in Ball State, and that's a goal of mine. Our senior director's retiring within the next 2 years, so
Okay.
we'll see what happens there in that direction and way structure is going there. Um, I plan on retiring from Ball State. I've been there so long. I love what I do. Um, I have one
You got
child
one
going
boy
there
there.
already,
Yeah.
so the other one plans on going there
Good.
too. So yeah,
That's helpful.
very helpful. It's a great benefit. Great benefit.
I'm sitting here counting in my head, Jennifer's bachelor's, and then she achieved a second bachelor's, but it was through Western Governors when she
Mhm.
got her bachelor's in nursing. But then I've got mine and both my daughters, and then my master's. It's surprising I don't have more Ball State stuff in here than just Charlie and my degree over there. This whole place should be red and black. But the thing is, I don't get a refund on any of that to pay for the painting and the labor that it would take
I know.
to make this a Ball
Yeah.
State room.
Yeah.
That's great stuff, man. Well, I'm excited. I'm so glad you stopped by
Yeah.
and we had a chance to catch up.
Thanks for asking. Yeah.
It kind of revived me on wanting to get back over to Ball State and eat something over there.
Yeah.
'Cause I haven't stopped in and eaten anything probably 2-3 years
Yeah.
since Jocelyn was, like full-time
Mhm.
living in a dorm or something.
Yeah.
I think maybe a couple times we stopped over at Woodworth.
Woodworth. Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's the sushi place and yeah, the Italian and
so good.
mhm.
So good. We enjoyed every bite of it. But we haven't been back over since.
Well, if you get a chance, I would go to North Dining.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I drive by there all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Anytime I go to Muncie, my brother was in town beginning in December, and Joe hadn't been on Ball State campus.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, I think he was there when I graduated in 20, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I remember walking across, up there on was that the art museum or whatever
Oh
building
yeah,
that
yeah,
is.
yeah. The terrace of the art
When you
museum.
walk
Yeah,
up
yeah.
across the terrace,
Mhm.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
and yelling out in the crowd. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he was there, but he hadn't been there since. And boy, the amount of changes that have
Oh,
happened since then
yes.
are
Lots.
tremendous
Mm-hmm.
and continue to happen. I'm super stoked to see what they do with that corner right there behind Sursa.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what that turns into.
Well, there's a new hotel going in.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
so
new
excited.
hotel with some shops and stuff, and that's exciting for everyone. The new amphitheater, where
Yeah.
the old
Oh,
Emmons
man.
parking garage. What a great, we're doing some catering out there as well outside.
It was a Blackford kid was the first kid to play out there. His name's Jerry Barker.
Oh,
He's a Blackford grad.
wow.
So, and actually
Yeah.
someone I'm trying to get on the show. So Jerry, if you're listening, I want to get you on here, brother. I want to see how his music career is going.
Yeah, the amphitheater, and this with the new East Mall. They call it East Mall, where you can walk from the village
Yeah.
all the way down on the east side of the campus, all the way to the rec center by the business building and Woodworth and all
I know
that.
exactly what
By
you're
the
talking about.
amphitheater in between Pruitt and all that. Yeah, they call that the East Mall.
Okay.
And it's just a big walk path,
Yeah,
which is
it goes
pretty
right
cool.
by the Honors College, Emmons.
Yes.
On through. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. And it is really pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a beautiful area.
Yeah.
And to think that was just an open, like there were houses there.
Yes, I know.
Like I used to park illegally
Yeah.
for a couple years
Yeah.
right behind some of the
Yeah.
sorority houses and walk in that direction to
Mhm.
get over to teachers college. And boy, what a beautiful campus. It's
Yeah. The Allderdice Gates there, has the water fountain on the east side where it starts the East Mall
Yeah.
there. It's pretty neat to see the fountain there. One cool thing I'll mention about dining also runs is the multicultural center ice cream shop. So
didn't know
yes,
that existed.
yeah. So you know where the amphitheater is at.
Yeah.
The new multicultural center that's right behind the library.
Yep.
There's an ice cream shop in there. It serves all Hershey's ice cream, flavors of the month. And we, and I'll,
Why do you tell me these things?
well, I'm going to tell you something that you needed to go try. We make homemade donuts
Oh,
in dining, in North Dining. Okay. In our bakery. So I know it's a little drive, but
that's okay.
you know,
Listen, if I'm not going to go home mad, it's worth.
homemade donuts. And then what we do, we'll make a donut sandwich out of ice cream and homemade donuts over at the ice cream shop. You know, there's all kinds of things they do over there, but that's a neat place to visit. And it's great because during the summer with something outside, you can go get an ice cream or a shake or something and go sit.
Sure.
And, yeah.
That brings up a question I have. During the summer, are all the dining halls operating as they normally would, or do you guys?
No, there's only a few. Like North Dining is open, Woodworth's open, because of orientation.
Yeah.
But in conferences going on, but there's only a couple that stay open.
What was the dining area like in between in between like Robert Bell, Letterman? So you go Bell, Letterman, Arts, maybe, and then there was the
Teachers College.
before you get to Teachers College, there was dining area in there.
The atrium.
Atrium. Is that
Yeah,
still there?
it's still there.
Okay.
Still up and running. That's where the Chick-fil-A was at.
Yeah.
Now they've moved it and they're building they renovated down North Dining.
That's why I was asking, because I didn't know if maybe everything had moved out of there and they'd repurposed.
No, they're
with
still
North
running food court there.
Man, that's still a very busy area.
Yeah.
In that
the middle of campus.
Oh my gosh.
The atrium Woodworth is really busy.
Yeah.
In the middle of campus. Yeah.
That's where I spent a lot of my time. I would go there and I would walk through the art museum that they have there in that area and hit the bookstore and just kind of kill some time. Met Charlie there a couple times.
Yeah.
And that was always exciting. It was one of my highlights of being on campus. You know, I love my mascots. I can't help it.
That's right. You got to love that.
Brother, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
What a good time.
Yeah.
I learned so much today. Number one, that me and Jennifer not opening a restaurant was a great idea. The not opening part. Because the number of restaurants we have created in our heads the list is long but distinguished. I'll put it that way.
Hey, you always do a food truck.
No. Just a new set of variables.
I know. I know. It is. You talk, and you probably even talked to Brian Blevins about that.
Well, Brian was in. We didn't talk much about his food truck.
Okay.
But I love the idea of food trucks. In fact, I'd had a conversation with a couple city leaders about the idea of doing a monthly food truck court.
Yeah.
And just have a Saturday afternoon, maybe that second Saturday. Everybody else does a first Friday. You got a third Wednesday, whatever they are. We could have just a food truck court set up uptown around the square in the afternoon.
Yeah.
What a great opportunity that would be.
Oh, yeah.
For second Saturday or whatever, be a pretty cool place that would draw people in. It's kind of that, if you have the right thing, it's going to draw people to it.
Yeah.
But,
anyway.
and just like a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Oh, great idea.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, well, we're done here today.
Yeah.
Brother.
Hey.
All right, there it is. I'm gonna. It's not an Irish goodbye, and it's not a Southern goodbye, but maybe it's an Indiana goodbye.
Okay.
I love you, man. Thanks for being here.
Yep.
We'll. That's it, folks. We're out.